Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your host, Tony Cañas. I just switched into my radio voice. See if Sri laughs when I say that. And today I have with me Sri Ramaswamy. I practiced, today I have with me Sri Ramaswamy, the founder and CEO at Charlee.ai. And that's Charlee, Charlee.ai. Sri, thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
Oh, fantastic.
Awesome.
After a really hot day yesterday.
I'm sorry to hear that. Do you feel like sharing why yesterday was a hard day?
Oh, it was a very hot and a very hard day. So
Okay.
both.
Okay.
It was really hot. It was 103 degrees.
103.
Here.
Hold on. I have you listed on LinkedIn as San Francisco. Was it 103 degrees in San Francisco, or were you out of town?
Not in San Francisco. So we are in the East Bay of San Francisco.
Okay.
So the company headquartered in Pleasanton, and
okay. So you're kind of like towards Sacramento.
Yes.
Okay, that makes more sense. Holy crap! If it ever gets to 103 degrees in San Francisco, that's really bad. Okay, so closer to Sacramento makes more sense. I used to live in Berkeley, so I'm very familiar with the area.
Oh, so just half an hour down from you.
So is it so is the temperature back to an acceptable range today?
Well, it's 91 today, but at least it's cloudy. Looks like there's some fire going on around here, and people have been evacuated. So at least not close to me, but about 15 minutes.
That's California for you. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and right now we are at 82. So I can only imagine. Okay. So Sri, we always give the guest a chance of giving the elevator pitch. So what is Charlee.ai?
Charlee.ai is a predictive analytics engine that provides context and explanations, along with predictions and insights. And this is very important because anybody can do machine learning, anybody can do predictions. What is important for an industry like insurance is that it's backed up. It has a backing to it, and it has sufficient evidence on the patterns, on why it got predicted, or additional insights into why something got predicted. So it can be actionable, it can be meaningful. People associate this term actionable very loosely. And to me, it has a very sensitive meaning when it comes to predictions. And the reason I'm saying sensitive is because it can only be actionable if it can be understood. And the explanations that Charlee provides with these predictions can be understood very easily by the operations team, and so can be enacted very quickly. So it doesn't take away the human flavor. It very much requires the human flavor, but it provides the due diligence that you would need along with the predictions. So it's a predictive analytics tool with a spin.
Okay, so this is very, very interesting. Okay, so you and I connected on LinkedIn over a post about claims talent. And I can't remember which post because it was probably a month and a half ago, but I can't remember what I had for dinner last night. Okay, so predictive analytics, AI, so artificial intelligence, predictive analytics, machine learning. I have a degree in management information systems. I started in computer science. I didn't graduate in computer science, and I know my listeners are largely non-technical insurance people, right? So they're most of them have a business major and been working in insurance. Okay, so whenever we talk artificial intelligence and such, I like to kind of bring it down to my level. Okay, so my understanding, and tell me if and of course tell me if I'm wrong. My understanding AI, machine learning, etc., is based on statistics. Basically, it's applying statistics to very large data sets in order to make predictions, in order to decide how to behave, in order to decide how to examine something. And part of the, well, and in machine learning, if I'm not mistaken, is a subset of AI where you give feedback to the machine, and that's how the machine takes its best guess, and you tell it, well, whether it's right or wrong, and it learns going forward, right? And part of the problem of AI and machine learning, etc., is the black box problem. Is yes, the machine is telling us something, and it's very easy in non-regulated industries, so not in insurance. It's very easy in non-regulated industries to just go like, we'll go with whatever the machine is saying, and not really understanding, right? And there can be biases, there can be discrimination, they can be, and you can easily go like, well, we're just paying attention to the machine, but the bias might be built in, right? So anyway, within insurance, we very often have to explain how the decision was made, right? We very often have to deal with regulators. We very often have to defend our choices, and that's where this gets really interesting. Is if I'm using, I'm not an actuary by any stretch of the imagination, but if I'm using predictive analytics in order to price something, I'm somehow going to have to convince the regulators that it makes sense, right? That we're being fair, quote unquote. So am I halfway correct in what I'm saying?
You are not completely wrong.
Okay.
You know, it is,
very nice
you're
way.
not completely wrong. And
Okay.
that's why at Charlie, we took a different spin.
Okay.
At looking at doing the predictions. We talked about explanations and explainable AI, and there are many different terminologies out there. In very simple terms, I'll give you the difference. Your credit card transactions, if people make a mistake, you've gone out, you're out of your pad, you're traveling somewhere, you've never been there before, but you're traveling, you get hit with an alert, not a big deal. It's fine. You can ignore, you can move on. Certain things can be life-threatening, so those are areas where your machine learning, the metrics that go with the machine learning have to be very, very accurate, like your airline, air traffic control and those kind of machines. Now comes to insurance. It's a regulated industry. If you're denying a claim based on, a model that predicts that you could be a suspected fraud, and it doesn't tell you why, it just tells you that this looks suspicious. I looked at all the different transactions. I looked at 10 years of your data. And based on that data, this person is always, hooking up with this chiropractor and this body shop and this attorney. So, I rule this as a suspected fraud. That is not going to sell. And that we understood that very clearly because of the team we brought together. My co-founder comes from the Department of Insurance, and we brought several practitioners, who have been doing claims for a long time. And we looked at it very differently to understand the behaviors, because every claim is different. It doesn't matter if you, for lack of like better examples, it doesn't matter if you are a con artist or if you're a murderer. If you have a claim, I have to look at your claim on your claim basis. Is there misrepresentation in your claim, in your facts of the claim? And that's how a human analyzes it. Humans are very good at this. Humans are very good at understanding the patterns and understanding this. So if there's any slight suspicion, you probably will ask them for more details. What we are using AI and machine learning is to understand the behaviors And we focus mainly on behavioral analysis, cognitive behavior analysis. When we started Charlee, we programmed into Charlee the behavioral analysis behind 160 plus fraud schemes from across all lines of business. And when that went into Charlee, we saw a much bigger scope for Charlee than to just do the fraud analysis. And so we took those behavioral patterns and we started understanding that this could provide the explanations that are missing. And this could actually, kind of like take away that black box effect or the bias. Because now, when you're predicting a claim, maybe for litigation, or we do several predictions, we do for litigation prediction, we do severity prediction, which is kind of like settlement prediction on where you could fall, where the claim could fall. We also look at attorney involvement prediction, and also we look at suspected fraud. So all these things are now exemplified with the behavioral analysis of what went on in that claim. What did the person feel, say, and the machine, the natural language processing models within Charlee interprets that, and the machine learning has trained it over several different claims to match those behaviors to potential litigation or to potential fraud or to potential high severity. And that's how, we have kind of gone around the solution, because we knew in the beginning itself that this will be a problem. If you want people to use the predictions, you have to understand the industry, and you have to understand the Fair Claims Practices Act. You have to understand the state regulations. You have to understand several things before I just flag certain claims and put that into the adjuster or to the SIU and say, okay, deny these claims.
Okay. So based on what you're telling me and looking at the website, it looks like the litigation piece, the severity management piece, the claims portfolio piece can be engaged with separately. So I can pick and choose.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not like a big monolith of a package. I have to sign up for the whole thing.
No, you don't. I mean, we have a tier 1 customer that just signed up. And last year, we did a POC with them in 3 weeks. And they told me that, and I'll tell you the reason why as well. They told us that we accomplished what they could not accomplish in 3 years and 3 weeks. And the reason for that is because of our trained insights. Now, I will tell you also, in short, they don't have to buy the entire package. You can start with one small line of business, even within property. Like our first customer was a property customer. Actually, we started in life insurance, and then we kind of moved more into the P&C side.
Okay.
And we have done, a damn good job in litigation prediction on the homeowners and the cat claims. So we're very good with on the catastrophic claims, both fire and hurricanes. Those are our specialty on the homeowners side. So if you look at the traditional machine learning, you look at 150 characters or whatever, 150 million data points. People talk about millions and millions of data points. Yes, it is important to look at the breadth of the data, and the more you get, the better it is. But sometimes it can actually hurt you. Sometimes what you really want, what you're really looking for, are those tagged, what we call it as tagged topics or tagged characteristics of the claim. So take a claim, for example, a bodily injury claim, and start to look at certain characteristics. And we have trained these characteristics, and we have more than 50,000 pre-trained insights that very quickly can correlate to litigation. And so if you give me the data, I'm not looking at volume. You don't need to come with, you don't need to come to me with millions and millions of records. You can even give me 50 records. I can tell you, I can predict based on that. And
hold
the
on,
reason is
hold on. You said 50 records?
50.
Okay, so yeah, that is kind of mind-blowing based on everything else I've heard. And again, I'm not a practitioner in this field by any stretch of the imagination, but what I've been told over and over, and what I've read in different articles is that yeah, it takes a lot more data than that for it to be meaningful. So yeah, tell me more. How can you have something meaningful in that little data?
That's where we have our patent. And we have been issued our patent in 1.5 years, really unthought of. And we never even expected to get that early, but this is where our patent is. So our patent is in extracting these meaningful insights. And when I say insight, what becomes an insight? It's again a loose term. People just throw it out. Is it data? Is it a field? Is it a column? Is it a KPI? Is it a metric? What is it? So it's a deep understanding about a certain subject. If you look at the meaning of it. And when we call it an insight, a claim insight, what's a claim insight? So that can tell you the characteristics of the claim, the location, the sentiments, the associated risk topics, as we call it, and the entities associated in them, and the timelines. When all these things come together for us, it becomes an insight. And that is important. Now, we are not going to, what we are doing is to kind of take those topics from that. For example, if you have a homeowner's claim, for example, let's take that. And then you look at, was the wind, was wind responsible? Was the roof blown away? Was the roof damaged? Was there pipes that were damaged? Did the pipe cause, was it galvanized pipe that caused the water leakage? So you have a ton of information in the claims. Some are good claims, as I call it. Some are bad claims that you don't want them, but some are good claims that you do want. Because without claims, there is no insurance in my mind. There is no risk. There is no fear.
Yeah,
right?
no,
Then it becomes...
sorry for interrupting. My first boss in insurance used to say, claims is the product. Claims is the product that people are paying for, ultimately.
Absolutely. If I don't have fear, I'm not going to buy insurance. It's the primary, people don't like to hear that, but I think the reality is claims is the product.
Yeah, no, claims is the product. So in my view, after 12.5 years in insurance, and after getting every designation I could get my hands on, until I got tired of continuing to study, CLU is the one that did me in. But everything that I learned about insurance over the last 12.5 years of being a nerd about insurance, claims is the product that people are buying. Now, having said that, the heart of what we do in insurance is underwriting. And basically, that's the way that I think of it.
Oh, absolutely. They go.
Right?
That's a marriage. That's
exactly.
marriage.
When those things are, when claims and underwriting, and I'm counting actuarial as part of underwriting in this case for this metaphor, but when claims and underwriting are in sync, wonderful things happen.
Exactly.
Right? And they're not always in sync.
The thing is, because people think of claims as the cost center, and it is the profit center.
Right. So
I understand that, and that's where I know that everybody asked me, what is your passion behind Charlee? This is exactly my passion behind Charlee. When I say good claims, these are claims that need to happen where you've gotten your premium, but the loss is not as much. There is a loss, but it's not as much. So you're not preventing the claim completely, but you're preventing the severity of the claim. And if we can get and this is going to morph in different areas. Today, it's auto physical damage because somebody caused the accident, and it's a person that caused the accident. Tomorrow it can be, there is no person there. It is my steering wheel, and it's the AI, that make the decision. Whatever may be the reason, the claim is going to be still a claim. Who's responsible, who's liable, all those things might change. You might prevent claims in one area, but you're going to see claims in another area. It's probably not in your home or in your car. You probably are going to see it in the breach, a cyber breach. So it's going to morph. I'm not hung up on, okay, a type of claim, staying. Yes, we all want to, kind of control the claims that are becoming more severe. And that's why litigation is important to control. Because if you don't control that, no matter what preventive, mechanism you use and how much of AI you use, litigation is going to come and bite every morsel of the food on the table. There's nothing going to be left because it's not advantageous for anybody.
Yep.
And that's, we are seeing that very clearly in Florida and Louisiana. And
oh my God, Florida.
Areas.
Holy Florida, yeah.
Yeah. And other states are following. We're seeing a trend. Actually, we are seeing a trend in our auto areas where some of the plaintiff attorneys are targeting novice adjusters, and they catch them as soon as they know that, okay, this person is not trained, they are put in a different jurisdiction, they are novice, they are new to their job, they get so aggressive.
I'm laughing because I am imagining this parallel side of the world where somebody in the legal tech community is running a podcast similar to this one. I don't know, profiles in law tech, and Bizarro Tony is in my mind interviewing somebody who is selling AI that helps you find the weak adjusters or the new adjusters.
Well, because they are doing it. And that's why I told you those predictions need to go with KPIs. If they have data on your adjusters, on your counsel, you need to have similar KPIs or even better KPIs that give you due diligence about the plaintiff attorneys. Don't you think?
It's an arms race. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's why we're very passionate about this, and we have collected many different insights. And I also tell you, when we were doing this, again, claims was not on my mind all the time. But to take the learning from here and educate your consumers, educate your brokers, agents. And there is so much marketing material that we can generate out of the trained topics that we have collected as part of our patent.
And by the way, based on your LinkedIn, you've been running this company for almost 7 years. So you guys are somehow you and I hadn't actually chatted until this year, but you guys are not brand new at this. Like it's 7 years. No. You're like a very, very mature insurtech.
We're very mature in our tech. Yes, absolutely. But we did take initial 3 years to train our AI. And that's why we spent all of our time, in training the natural language processing and collecting all these insights. And now we have our proprietary KPIs that are not in the industry, and we have our anybody can do machine learning and predictions. That's not a competitive field at all. You have like bunch of data scientists, you get them together, smart ones, you put them together, get them to do data science, they can do it.
Yeah.
What we wanted to do differently is to collect all those insights and to own them. So you can do whatever you want with them. And what we have done with them initially as a first rollout, once we have trained all the insights, as a first rollout, we did the predictions. We did predictive analytics for litigation, predictive analytics for severity, and we have the portfolio one, which we haven't officially launched, but that's more for the like the loss portfolio transfer use cases. If you're running off a certain line, or you want to know how profitable it is before you acquire, or you run off something and you want to understand the business, the complete book of business, that's what the portfolio management is for.
Okay. So looking at your website, I really like that. So you go to Charlee.ai, again, CHARLEE.ai, and basically the first thing that comes up is the three current services: litigation, severity, claims portfolio. And all of them have both a learn more button where you can read more about how it works, and a test drive button. So tell me about the test drive. So if one of my listeners is a head of claims or a VP of claims or whatever at a carrier or an MGA or whatever, how does it work once they click on test drive? How does that process work?
Sure. We do work with MGAs and carriers, both are our target customers. And the test drive is intended for customers to bring in a set of data. It can be 2 years, it can be 5 years, it can be whatever, but a mix of both open and closed claims, and bring that in. And we do a 21-day free POC. And within 21 days, I will take in whatever amount of claims that you have in 5 lines of business that we operate today. And I will get back to you with either, we ask that this 21-day cover just one thing, like you test only one thing at a time. So either litigation. So if you're testing litigation, you bring in the data. Once we get the data in a certain format, we take that in and we will come back to you with results. You can turn in Charlee and you can start looking at predictions and some KPIs. That's what the 21-day is going to give you. And the best part about it is you can actually take that and turn it into your phase 1 of predictive analytics, which means some of the claims that we predict on the open claims that we predict, you can actually take that and start working right away. So that's your ROI on the 22nd day.
Oh wow. Okay. So bring some data and we'll show you what we can do. Okay.
Yeah.
So after that, we bring some data, you show me what you can do. I pick up my jaw from the floor. Yes, let's proceed. How does it work now? How do you plug into my systems? How long does it take? How much will it cost?
Well, from there, we sign the contract. It's a subscription-based model based on the claims volume. And we have 3 different packages. One package, two different packages. One which takes in documents right away. The first one, the first package, Charlee Pro, does not take any documents, but it will take in claim notes that come from your claim files. So you can package that in a CSV file and upload it in Charlee. You can do that on a real-time basis through an API, or you can do that on a batch mode. There are some customers, like there is a tier 1 customer that's on GCP, and they do a GCP to GCP transfer, a Google to, a Google Cloud to a Google Cloud transfer.
Okay.
So you can do that. We are very cloud agnostic. We are currently on 3 clouds, Azure, GCP, and AWS. So if you're on those clouds, we have our instance there, and you can move data, through that as well. And once you move the data, the contract is all signed, hoping that will go fast. And once all that contract is signed, then what we end up doing is whatever POC you have done, that becomes the baseline data. And after that, you start giving me incremental data on a periodic basis. Whatever that period is, you decide. It can be nightly, it can be twice in a week, thrice in a week, or if it's like, some people are general liability customers, they don't see so much volume of data, but they do see incremental data. So they do it twice a week. So and then we have a tier one who's a private, personal auto customer, and they do it every night, and they have large volumes of claims. So, the first stage, we ask people to just start with your claim notes. Your claim notes is a hidden treasure. So we will start with that. We also have our own pre-trained, insights. So, it's a jump start. It gives you a 60% jump start. And the remaining 40% is what we will be training on your data. And after that, on the incremental data, we will start giving them the list of claims so they can prioritize those claims within their workflows. And this goes like this, on day one, what is the claim that you want to be looking at? And how do I prioritize that? So it's not just a list of, claims that we flagged for prediction, like we predicted, but it's further narrowing down. Okay, did you set low reserves on a predicted claim? And, further like that, we start adding more criteria, because our idea, Charlie's idea, is to kind of put that top 1% of claims that you should absolutely look at on day 1 or day 30 or day 60. And, that's kind of goes from, that flow.
So you said something really interesting so I spent 2 years in claims. I've talked to 300, well, together, we've had several host this podcast, but I think I've done 250 out of the 330 or 340. So we've had several providers of AI-based tools, several providers of claims tools. Nobody had ever mentioned the phrase claims notes. Yeah, right. So basically, and I remember being a claims adjuster. Yes, I remember, for example, that the system at Nationwide and at Firm Bureau, actually, once you put a note in the system, you couldn't delete it or edit it because of compliance. But I guarantee that, at least back when I was working in claims 10 years ago, guarantee that those notes were not being analyzed in any way, shape, or form unless something happened with a claim and a manager went in and read it, right? So, and none of the other vendors that I've talked to have ever said that they can do anything with claim notes. So that is super interesting. So tell me more about that. How do you guys make wring value from something as unstructured as claims notes?
So that's the patent on. So the patent is basically looking at claim notes. It's eliminating noise out of that, and it's summarizing that into insights. And when I say insights, like I told you, the 5 different things we extract from the claim notes, claim documents, external media. It's not social media, but external media, or third-party reports or anything. So similarly, within claim notes also, we are looking for those things. We're looking for entities. We're looking for locations. We're looking for timelines. We're looking for topics. And we're looking for sentiments. So sentiment analysis. But what is very important is the tagged topics. And I'll give you an example in a different world, in a non-insurance world. If you look at how people study, biologists, how they study whales, and if they want to study, will they be extinct? Can they move to a different location? Can you predict the behavior of a whale? If you want to predict the behavior of a whale, they go tag the whale. And this is exactly the term they use. They tag the whale. And that tagging actually records everything, every movement of the whale. It is looking at what it's doing when it's sleeping, when it's eating, how long it's eating, what is happening, inside the body. It's measuring some things. So it's looking for some characteristics of the whale that now you can go and measure another whale. And, based on the volume, that certain characteristics now become very important. If you were to predict the behavior of the whale, these are like maybe 10 elements within the things that you have recorded that have become very, very important. That's exactly what we have done with claim. So we know that, okay, there is a galvanized pipe. Now, people are not going to put that down as it is, galvanized pipe. They're going to say it differently. So this is how, this is what it means when people say semantic. And so semantically, we have trained, I told you, we have taken some time initially when the company started to train. And this is exactly what we did. So the claim notes can be interpreted irrespective of who writes, what they write, what shorthand they use. Our system has natural language processing models and ontologies and dictionaries that are literally like insurance dictionaries. They can read, they can interpret whatever hell you write it, and they will know exactly that you are talking about a galvanized pipe.
That is fantastic. I remember, and my days in claims were largely spent in auto claims and very simple auto claims. But yeah, V1 hit deer, V1 rear-ended V2, INSD, CLMT, like yeah, we write in shorthand because you're trying to do it very quickly because you're dealing with a large pending, and you're really doing it for yourself.
All of that.
Okay, that's awesome. That's really awesome. So Sri, this has been really, really good. And we've already gone a little bit long, so I apologize for that. But I always like to ask towards the end, how did you come up with the idea? How did you realize that this wasn't needed?
Well, it goes with my personal experience. It's I started my career in the data field, data warehouse and building data warehouses for the banking industry. When the banking industry was going through, very similar changes about 20 years ago. I don't even want to age myself. It's about 22
By the way,
years ago.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the fact that insurance is 20 years behind banking.
I mean, I didn't want to say it that way, but you could
any listener of the show knows that it's true.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, it is true. So, but I think every industry has, their moment. And, it started with retail, then telecom, then, you saw banking and now insurance. I think it's exciting to be in insurance because of that. You don't want to be in a very matured field because then you'll have to be thinking Einstein, right? So, and here, you are doing Einstein kind of work, but because the industry is very, very prime for change. But, back then, when I started working in the insurance, I just got placed in it. It was not by choice. It just happened. And when I stepped onto it, I'm a data geek. I love data. And, I have to tell you the story very quickly. So I did my hotel management, in my undergrad, and I worked in the hotel industry. I wanted to be in the Bollywood, but of course my parents didn't let me do that. And then I moved on to doing sales for Samsung, and I was the first person that introduced microwaves in India. And I did that by using something called context-based marketing. And that's exactly, because data always excites me. It's like data told me that, hey, you got to go sell this to women. And how do you get women into the showroom to sell? By organizing cooking shows. And that's exactly what I did. I did not sell microwaves. I just invited women to come and look at what you can cook. Just experience cooking and eat a snack and go away, walk away. And I was like at 120% sales. And my manager, thought he didn't think I was a good salesperson, but he thought I was a very good data person. And it was interesting because that's the data I put together, and I'm always a data geek. So when I stepped into the insurance industry, and when I started playing around with claims, and when I say playing around, it was a project that I was doing for an insurance company. I noticed very quickly the unstructured data, the claim notes that people would write. And when I was doing reporting, and I was coming up with new reports, it just felt like the report and what was in that claim note were not syncing up. And that's the light bulb for me. It's like, oh my God, you have all these reports that are really telling you numbers, but those numbers don't have a story. And that story is present in your unstructured data, because risk, claims is, 70 or 80% unstructured. This is human risk that you're talking about, and humans are very good at telling you the risk story, but you are not capturing that and converting that. Every other industry is doing it. Look around you, like, I get sold so many things on Amazon. And how do they know? So
Uh, I,
it is happening.
I've got to say, uh, for me, Google, I use Gmail, Google, Amazon. They have my entire shopping history back to like middle school,
Yes.
and Facebook all know me really, really, really well, and they're usually like on the dot. Facebook recently, so we're recording in August 17th, 2022. Facebook earlier this year had to, like, Apple forced them to basically give you the option of on the app, like, can we actually save your data or not, kind of thing.
Exactly.
And I actually said yes. And I want to, right. I think that I didn't even read the notice. I just said yes, which I'm guessing many people did. But the ads that Facebook shows me so lately have been like way off. And some of my favorite ones, I should really start taking screenshots. Just yesterday, Facebook was offering me ads for eHarmony, and for engagement rings. And I've been with my girlfriend for 9 years. We have no intention of ever getting married. And and if we did, we wouldn't use a diamond to begin with, right? And so I'm a really bad use of marketing money for both of those types of ads.
Well, I think they're just not doing a good job in reading you
Yeah,
and
but they
understanding
used
the
to be
context.
really, really good. They used to be really, really good, and it's just recently they've been showing me some that are way off, and I need to start screenshotting them
So
because
see, you understand why context is so
oh,
important. Context.
100%.
And I feel that insurance is missing out because in those claim notes, you have the person's behavior, the person's weakness, the person's strength, what the person has done well, what the person, could do well, what you could sell more.
Mm-hmm.
The upselling and the cross-selling and all those ideas are hidden inside claims. So that's what made me very passionate. And I said, I've got to find, and this happened like 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I've got to find a way to take these claim notes and convert them into numbers. And that's exactly.
I love this. I love this. We uh we got to cut it short today, because I do have I'm pitching a double hitter, so I'm recording another podcast here in a few minutes. I'm recording with Bobby Srinivas, of what's Benikiva.
Oh, Bobby Srivastav.
Yes. Yeah, and Bobby,
Oh,
we've been
say
friends
hi
for
to
a
her.
long time, and somehow she's never been on the podcast. It's one of those like because we've been friends for a long time, I've never gone out of my way to invite her, and finally it hit me, and I'm like, Bobby, you got to come on the podcast. So anyway, we're recording today.
Oh,
Uh,
say hello to her for
I,
me.
awesome, and I think that you're going to be at InsurTech Connect, so I look forward to seeing you there. It will be very
Absolutely.
easy to find. I'll be running around with my top hat and my red jacket, so do say hi when you see me, and I'll be there for the entire time, Monday through Friday. And on Thursday, last last year, I went to the Ludacris concert, and
Oh, you
then
did go for the
yeah,
concert.
oh yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't
I stayed the
stay.
whole time. I went to the concert, and then I made it to my room at like 3 a.m. and then I took a 6 a.m. flight. So basically, like I made it to my room just to pick up my stuff. So this
Oh,
year I didn't even book a room for Thursday night. So this year the plan is, you'll sleep when you're dead. The plan is go to the UB40 concert, which I'm really excited for, and then keep
oh,
hanging
shoot.
out. Right, like I just found out today that it's UB40, and I'm very excited about that. So basically the plan
I got to
is
change my plane tickets again.
for real. So the plan is hang out all night and then go to the airport at like 3 or 4 a.m. So
There
it
you
should be a
go.
great time. So thank you so much for coming on the show today. I look
Thank you
forward
so much, Tony. Thank you.
to seeing you in Vegas and continuing this conversation. Look forward to having you back on the podcast as you guys keep doing what you're doing. Really, really cool stuff. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.